With Bruce Paige and Heather Foord, this is National 9 News.
Water cannon and tear gas turned on both people in a riot at Woomera.
Another long day on the battlefront for exhausted bushfire fighters.
More to celebrate for the Broncos. Good evening.
Good evening.
A major battle's been raging all day at the Woomera Detention Centre in South Australia, where a large group of illegal immigrants have rioted. They've burnt down 4 buildings and are fighting guards with stones and spears made from metal pickets. Police hit back with water cannon and tear gas.
After a weekend of violence at the centre, early this morning a core group of 80 to 100 detainees set fire to several buildings in the remote compound. An accommodation block, recreation centre, dining room and a new education building were extensively damaged. Local service station owner Dave Kirby watched the riot unfold.
Fire trucks trying to get to the scene but not able to, and then pelting the fire trucks with bricks and stones and whatever they could hold of.
A water cannon was brought in to push back rioters when they tried to escape through a hole in the main fence. As the fire was brought under control, several of the detainees started using metal fence posts as spears. They could be seen taunting riot police, who used tear gas to disperse the men.
Many of them have wrapped their heads in towels in order to hide their identities so that we're not able to find out who these people are.
There were repeated police charges on the group. At one stage, the rioters massed beside the perimeter fence, abusing police and displaying banners urging their release. Those responsible for the violence recently had their refugee claims rejected and were set to be deported.
There is no way I, the government, nor I think the Australian people will be coerced by behaviour of this sort.
On Saturday, tear gas was used when several staff members were attacked with stones. Late today, South Australian police said the situation was under control, but added extra police were being called in case of another attempted mass escape. Mark Burrows, National 9 News.
The bushfire menace in the southeast came right into Brisbane today, with homes endangered by a major blaze in the city's west. Dozens of other fires are still burning throughout the area, whipped up by the strong winds.
The weekend saw firefighters respond to 400 outbreaks, mostly in outlying areas. But today the flames encroached on Brisbane City. In the hilly confines of the Gap, gusty winds whipped up fires which threatened several houses, while residents tried last-minute defences.
It's been drier this year than it has for several years, so everything's like tinder.
A whole street which backed onto bush faced an uncertain day.
A bit nervous when it gets down here, so a bit too close to home, yeah. And I mean, it's so dry here.
They're ready, but I don't expect that anything will happen. But I'd feel damn stupid if my house burned down and I wasn't ready.
Firefighters say current dry conditions are ideal for bushfires.
It's been many seasons since the fire threat has been this serious, due mainly to abundant rain in many parts, sponsoring vegetation growth.
We are definitely in a cycle where a lot of new growth from last year has died off through lack of rain.
There are currently 5 areas in the southeast under an extended total fire ban, and lighting a fire deliberately or otherwise can attract large penalties.
The situation's very serious at this stage. The fire rating is above high to nearly extreme.
Late today, some light rain and a change in conditions offered some relief. Andrew Trewin, National 9 News.
The main police station at Logan was empty for 4 hours because of a gas leak. 4 officers and 3 staff were taken to hospital, 1 woman with serious breathing problems. Sulphur fumes were detected in the building just after 9 o'clock. It was immediately cleared.
By tracing, we located the cause of it is to the batteries that back up our security systems in the building.
The superintendent says Q-Build inspected the area only yesterday after police raised concerns about the batteries.
A less than perfect start today for Impulse Airlines. Its first flight from Brisbane to Sydney was delayed for 1.5 hours. Acting on impulse, a rather merry pop group, the Screaming Jets, began singing as the plane was taxiing for takeoff. The pilot went back to the terminal and put them off.
The Virgin cut-price flight for Impulse Airlines had all the fanfare, but then the Screaming Jets decided on some impromptu in-flight entertainment.
The magic dragon lives by the sea.
No one appreciated it, least of all Impulse and airport security.
We lost our frequent flyer points because Accidentally sang Puff the Magic Dragon.
Just disrupting the cabin, yelling. Too many screaming jets on this airport, I think.
The band members maintain they didn't do anything outrageous. In 11 years of flying, this is the first time they've been thrown off.
Now,
Honestly, we're such good flyers usually. We're usually really good and people like to fly with us because we're fun and we sing a few kumbayas and a bit of fun there.
The plane eventually took off an hour and a half late. The band wasn't charged, resorting to an even cheaper way of flying to Sydney with frequent flyer points. There were minor hiccups too for Virgin Blue over the weekend. Its computer system couldn't cope with the massive demand for $48 fares starting Thursday. Some customers found themselves overbooked and overcharged.
I was really annoyed with Virgin, and my attitude was their fare may be cheaper, but I'm not going to fly with them if that's the hassle I had to go through to try and get on a flight. It's not worth it.
Virgin says it will refund aggrieved passengers. More than 16,000 seats were sold. Carl Stefanovic, National 9 News.
A terrifying near miss for beachgoers in Los Angeles when part of an engine fell off a Dutch jet. You can see the right wing explode, then just seconds later the cowling hits the beach.
A big chunk fell off. It could have killed somebody if it hit him.
No one was hurt. The jet returned safely to Los Angeles Airport.
Though 5 Broncos played their last game for the club yesterday, the coach is sticking around for a while yet. Wayne Bennett once said he'd probably call it quits when Alan Langer and Kevin Walters retired, but the club says he can stay on as long as he likes. And for the players, a champion's welcome when they return to Brisbane.
Thanks. A 5th premiership in 8 years, and last night Rugby League's ultimate prize began a familiar trek north. A predictable in-flight video as surprisingly subdued players shared a quiet drink and the NRL trophy did a lap of honour in the skies. At the terminal, a change in tempo.
Let's go, Licker!
The sign said it all and the crowd gave it their all as the premiers emerged. Everyone wanted a piece of the Broncos.
How you feeling? Very, very good.
Oh, what do you mean? He doesn't remember it. Even those normally reserved were caught up in a reception which bordered on Beatlemania. The team bus providing an ideal stage for this Fab Five. Back at the clubhouse, another sea of fans. A farewell from rugby-bound Brad Thorne. Captain Kevy crowd-surfed into retirement, and on the morning after, reports coach Wayne Bennett may join him were quickly quashed.
You know, Wayne's comfortable with his commitment to the club, and the board certainly are comfortable with the commitment he gives us, and we see him being part of this place for a few more years.
Right now, the premiership party continues.
It's a very special week, and you never ever want it to end, but unfortunately I think it'll end by, say, Friday or Saturday.
Chris Bombolas, National 9 News.
In the news ahead, a man bashed for his pokey winnings.
And drivers scrambled from a collapsed bridge.
You've taken home $125,000.
The money's flying out the door, but there's still one goal that beats everything.
Oh, I won $1 million.
Millionaire tonight.
We're more like flatmates, Gavin and me.
G'day, mate.
You know, we hang out together a bit.
Okay, it's coming.
Try to grab a meal when we can. But he's got his own life.
Oh,
and I've got mine.
What's his name?
Gavin. Yeah, I suppose single life suits us.
Whiskers Singles. Part of every healthy relationship.
Remember the good old days? Well, they've returned at the town of Seaside on Coolum Beach. You can rediscover the traditional neighbourhood we all knew and loved as kids, with a friendly sense of community where you walk to everyone and everywhere, including the 10-kilometre stretch of pristine beach nestled just alongside. With a lifestyle like this, there's no surprise at just who you'll find making their home here.
It's just perfect for us.
Did we mention all the golf courses?
The town of Seaside, the beach home you've always wanted.
I've been working at Telstra for nearly 10 years now. Telstra invests over $300 million in regional Queensland every year. For instance, working with the Queensland Government, we've linked all 1,300 state schools to the internet. It means kids in regional Queensland will have the same opportunity to learn as kids in any major city. In the Wide Bay area, we've hooked up around 155 schools from Bundaberg to Gympie. And we formed a new business, Telstra Countrywide, to meet the needs of our regional customers. We know that constantly improving our service is critical. I know we're getting there.
For more information on Telstra's investments in your region, call 1800 681 681.
Tuesday, their trust has been betrayed. Now, Hands goes in as the target.
You can't know what this feels like.
Stinger's undercover, Tuesday on Win.
Here with National 9 News. Thousands of Commonwealth Bank staff will stop work for 2 hours on Friday morning. They're protesting over a pay rise and low staff numbers.
An 81-year-old man's been bashed outside a Brisbane hotel and robbed of his pokie winnings. 2 men stole his $500 share of a jackpot, leaving him to crawl more than a kilometre to his Southside home.
He survived Japanese prisoner of war camps during World War II. Now at 81, Arthur Cleaver has again displayed unyielding spirit. The grazes over his face and body are from crawling nearly a kilometre to his Annerley home after being knocked unconscious last night outside a hotel.
2 blokes was over me at one stage and I said, "Who are you?" I was saying, "Who are you? I don't know you."
More than likely they'd watched him and a mate score a $1,000 jackpot. Arthur's recollection of events is hazy, but he remembers leaving alone about 10 o'clock.
When I got in here, it was 2:45 in the morning when I eventually got this.
When you say you crawled, can you remember?
Well, I'm only saying I crawled because they all, see, the trousers on there, all the knees are out, and they said, my toes.
He was treated at the PA hospital and released this afternoon. Arthur may not have had his cash long, but he'd made plans on how he was going to spend it. There were to be no treats, just paying off a month's rent.
The wallet's gone, and I've more or less got everything else, but the wallet, which was the money in it, plus my flexi card from the bank.
Neil Dawley, National 9 News.
In East Timor, the UN peacekeepers are preparing for trouble as the territory marks a year since it voted for independence. They're expecting militia gangs to step up border raids around Wednesday's anniversary.
All appears peaceful enough, but renewed militia attacks have heightened border tension. Here, the UN checkpoint at Batu Gade, where 27 Australian peacekeepers face an unknown number of Indonesian soldiers. This is the no man's land between East and West Timor. Behind me, Indonesian soldiers, and somewhere, the militias. As local Indonesians watch on, Australian Army Lieutenant Simon Muat escorts us to the bridge where the UN's control ends and Indonesia's begins. His counterpart is there to meet us. He denies the militias are active here.
There's no militia yet now.
But the United Nations fears up to 150 militiamen have infiltrated East Timor. Recent attacks by these armed thugs resulting in the deaths of 2 peacekeepers.
They've shown a high degree of training in small-level tactics. They move in a coordinated manner under fire and certainly don't really show fear per se.
All of which leads East Timor leaders to believe that elite Kopassos commandos are responsible.
If it is not all the Kopassos, some people from Kopassos.
Mr. Guzmaus confirmed his continuing popularity. At a congress here which is designing a political blueprint for East Timor, he offered to resign, later withdrawing his threat following repeated calls to stay. In Dili, Adrian Brown, National 9 News.
The Russians have another crisis on their hands, this one unfolding in the heart of Moscow. The country's main television tower's on fire and 10 people are missing inside, all thought to be trapped in a lift. At least 6 people were hurt when 3 elevators plunged down a shaft, the cable severed by the fire. The tower is the world's 2nd tallest structure. Authorities now fear it could come crashing down. At least 20 people have been injured in Taiwan in a bridge collapse. About 100 metres of road fell into a river as one end of the bridge snapped off. Rescuers searched the water for victims, but incredibly no one was killed, and all those injured are in stable condition. It's not yet known what caused the bridge to come down. And the 4-month hostage crisis in the Philippines is nearly over, after rebels released 5 more foreigners today and promised to free the final 7 sometime soon. The deal was brokered when Libya agreed to pay $1 million ransom for each hostage, leader Muammar Gaddafi trying to improve his image abroad. The hostages were kidnapped in April by Muslim separatists who want an independent state.
Well, as the Broncos and their supporters celebrated the NRL Premiership last night, another league stronghold, Newcastle, toasted the arrival of the Olympic torch. The crowd was the biggest since the Knights won their league title in '97, and the best turnout so far in New South Wales for the Flame. Today, one of the heroes of the '97 Grand Final, Paul Harragon, took his place in the relay as the run heads towards Sydney.
Sport now with Wally. 4 Broncos make the World Cup team.
Oh, it should have been more, Bruce, but a leadership role for one of them. The Grand Final wash-up is next. Pat Rafter fit for the US Open. And now Tiger can see in the dark.
He's left them in the dark again. Yes.
I'm going to ask Monica to marry me.
Wait a minute. What was that?
I'm going to ask Monica to marry me.
So you two are really serious?
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Oh my God, this will be huge. Friends, tonight on Win.
Don't hang about for the latest computer. Here it is. Compact Internet computer and printer, $1,999 with 12 months telephone support, in-home installation and training, and latest Microsoft software. Compact quality from Retrovision.
Buy anywhere else and you'll pay too much.
Hurry in for more of what you want with Coles Better Buys. Like 4 and 20 meat pies, 6-pack only $3.98, save 95 cents. And better savings on firm ripe tomatoes, just $1.98 a kilo.
The Carpet Court Imperial Collection brings a touch of pure luxury into your home. Beautiful natural fibres in an abundance of earthy designer colours and tones. The latest twists, plushes, sisals and Berbers at prices you can afford. See and feel Carpet Court's exclusive Imperial Wool Collection. Truly affordable luxury. And for a limited time only, you'll get free underlay on any of the Imperial range. Also, interest-free terms are available. Call 13 20 64 for your local Carpet Court store.
You like a choice. So does your cat. Whiskers Singles, now in 20 different varieties. A fresh meal every single time.
Ladies, you see some clothing arriving every day at Silly Solly. Printed rayon shorts, $6.95. Sun-dress waffle singlets, $5.95. Wrap-around skirts, $6.95 and $9.95. Long rayon singlet dresses, $13.95. Rayon equator dresses, $9.95. And smart cancer singles, $14.95 and $7.95.
Ever since his brother's heart attack, he's cut out fat, he's going to the gym, he's even drinking Soy Life. It's got no cholesterol, but I think he really likes the taste.
Soy Life, now also in Long Life.
The 1st of September will be hot and steamy at the New York Bar and Rolling Rock Noosa. Kick it off at 8 p.m. with Rhythm and Blues. Then glide into the Rolling Rock for live Latino swing and groovy funk. Noosa Jazz is gonna be hot.
Good evening. Still celebrating the Broncos' premiership, more success for Gordon Tallis. He's been appointed vice-captain of the Australian team for the World Cup in Britain. Tallis, one of 4 Broncos in the squad.
Selectors were always going to come under scrutiny over the unlucky omissions, but with so much talent available, it became a process of elimination.
It's always a hard decision to come down to 22 players, so I think there's a host of players that, you know, we're on the edge of selection, but you know, you can only take 22 at the end, and we thought this was the best 22 for the job.
The Blues' dominance of Origin football apparently still fresh in the selectors' minds.
There is a reflection there of that. You know, New South Wales won 3-0, so I think that's an important indicator to representative football.
But Anderson struggled to explain why only 4 Broncos were included despite their dominance of the NRL.
Good question.
The team includes 4 Newcastle players and 3 from Melbourne. And while there are no shock omissions, the selectors' choice of just 2 centres, Gidley and Girdler, and 1 specialist fullback in Lockyer has raised some concerns. As the first of the Broncos supporters' buses arrived home this morning, further cause for celebration. A long night ensuring Gordon Tallis arrived blissfully unaware of being named his country's vice-captain. Although delighted by the news, suspicions of a prank from teammates kept Tallis doubtful.
You know, the captain of the Broncos was something special this year, and you know, to be known to be second in charge of an Australian touring side or whatever is, you know, probably the greatest honour what I've achieved so far, if it's true.
Tiger Woods has added yet another chapter to his growing legend. The world #1 showed he's just as good in the dark as he is in daylight, winning the rain-interrupted NEC Invitational in Ohio by 11 strokes. Robert Allenby was the best of the Australians.
Ernie Els was out on the course prior to rain causing a long delay. The South African joining the growing list at this tournament who have found the hole from off the green. This an albatross at a par 5. When the sun came out, so did Tiger, but by the time he'd reached the 18th, even the spectators needed some artificial help to catch the action. But apparently there's no conditions under which Tiger hasn't tested himself.
We used to have probably 2 or 3 holes in pitch black dark, and you have to call the shot, what you're going to hit, because that's the only way you know where it was going to go.
His approach to the final green, clear proof of that. I think.
Oh, you can't do that.
The tap-in gave him victory #8 in 2000.
He's left them in the dark again.
In the LPGA Classic, Meg Mellon tried to haul in runaway leader Kari Webb, but despite conceding 6 shots to the American on the final day, Webb's 72, enough to give her a 2-stroke victory. At the Belgium Grand Prix, Jordan's Jarno Trulli went for an early spin, as did Mika Häkkinen, but the Finn was able to recover from that. By lap 41, he passed Michael Schumacher to grab a lead he never forfeited. Häkkinen first from the brothers Schumacher, Michael second in his Ferrari, Ralph also on the podium after guiding his Williams to third. And Italy's Giancarlo Fisichella has finished 6th after recovering from this incident during the final warm-up. Andrew Slack, National 9 News.
And in tennis, the US Open begins tonight with Pat Rafter declaring himself 100% fit to challenge for a 3rd title. 10 Australians are in the singles draw, with Leighton Hewitt and Mark Philippoussis both seeded.
The Open can be a bit like its home city of New York. Showy, brash and at times noisy. Andre Agassi might be the #1 seed, but Pat Rafter remains a crowd favourite. The affection mutual.
I just think he's a great player.
Patrick. How come?
He's cute.
It's very loud. You got to keep that and push that all aside and play your match, and that's one thing I've been able to do very well here.
Rest has cleared up the shoulder trouble that re-emerged after Pat's Wimbledon and Davis Cup campaign. But the price has been a lack of match practice on the hard courts.
There's a few things I need to probably get going before I play great tennis here, and that's good rhythm on my serve, a high percentage of first serves, and I'm pretty confident that I'll move well. So if all those factors come together, then I can play well.
A year on from a spectacular debut here, Leighton Hewitt is seeded 9th. Former finalist Mark Philippoussis 15th. The fallout from the Scuds Davis Cup withdrawal has meant he and Pat Rafter have barely spoken.
Sooner rather than later, the Scud and Rafter may have to cross paths here at Flushing Meadows. 2 victories each would square them off in round 3, and there they can let their rackets do the talking.
The new look Jelena Dokic leaves no doubt that it's summer in New York. They're calling it the Cornucova look.
It's good to get a bit of sun here and coming from Australia.
Tim Sheridan, National 9 News.
Let's hope there's not too many sickies at work tomorrow. 9's coverage starts at 2 a.m.
It's awfully early, isn't it? Thanks, Will. The stock market slipped 3 points. Queensland coal miner QCT soared 27 on BHP's takeover bid. BHP off 26. It was a good day for Woolworths and Telstra. Melbourne IT still falling. Our dollar's little firmer against the greenback and the pound. In Lotto, 7 winners pick up $360,000 each. Division 2 pays $9,500. John's next with the weather.
Then a Brisbane musician gets the Olympic call-up.
It was the greatest day of their lives, but after the celebration, where are they now? Coming soon to Win Television. Weddings, where are they now? The ultimate budget renovation.
You didn't really do it for $25,000.
I did. Learn the inexpensive tips on Our House, Wednesday night on Win Television.
What are your thoughts on heel support? Do you use Band-Aids on your nipples? Tafadhali niwache mama niende na mazoezi. Ah! Did you get that, Warwick?
When it comes to sports gear this Father's Day, D-Store knows.
dstore.com.au.
It's the biggest Dad's Day sale in town. Hair clipper sets $14.95, 1 kilo nuts $4.95, executive briefcases $19.95, car seat cover sets $39, smart look polo shirts $9.95, Dad's Day cards 50 cents, look-alike sheepskin car cushions $14.95, and second bunch of shorts $4.95.
13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13. 14, 14, 14, 14.
I think the battery's gone. What? The battery's gone. I'll get it myself.
There's no faster or easier way to buy a battery than at the Super Cheap Auto Battery Centre. You'll find what you want and be on your way in no time flat.
There's been a problem with the battery.
Super Cheap Auto.
The 1st of September will be hot and steamy at the New York Bar and Rolling Rock Noosa. Kick it off at 8 p.m. with Rhythm and Blues. Then glide into the Rolling Rock for live Latino swing and groovy funk. Noosa Jazz is gonna be hot.
I'm meeting a top builder on site. Should be here soon.
Is this an answering service?
Where?
When it comes to hardware this Father's Day, D-Store knows.
dstore.com.au.
2 minutes.
The Dream Home Challenge enters its final phase with our couples attacking the outside. Who'll keep their home? Dream Home, Tuesday night on Win.
Good evening. Today was certainly not one of our better days. We had a heavy cover of middle-level cloud, very hazy atmosphere from, of course, those grass fires around, and, of course, very gusty winds as well. We had some light rain this afternoon, not enough, though, to ease the current high fire danger. It'll clear this evening to a dry, sunny day tomorrow. The temperatures changed pretty rapidly through the day, most up over average by lunchtime. Then late today, they dropped below the average mark. The Gold Coast, Coolangatta had 9 to 24, Logan 8 to 25, Ipswich 4 to 24, Brisbane City 9 to 25, Redcliffe reached 27, Caboolture 26, a very warm day in the Sunshine Coast, 29 degrees there, almost summer. And at the moment in Brisbane, 16 degrees, 61% humidity. Let's take a look at the cloud. You'll see plenty around the southeast corner, upper level system and a trough generating the cloud we're having at the moment. As I said, though, little or no rain associated with that. If we look at the chart, you'll see this front moving off the coast. It'll take the few showers with it tomorrow. Dry weather coming in, windy tomorrow, but easing through the day. Capital city forecasts around the country. Showers and windy in Perth. It'll become fine in Adelaide, fine in 3 to 13 for Hobart tomorrow. A few showers for Melbourne, fine in Canberra and Sydney, and fine but cloudy in Darwin. The northern centres of Queensland, there's a fine sunny day for there tomorrow. 28 degrees in Cairns, not quite as warm in Mackay, about 26 degrees. And then down the coast, fine, 9 to 28 in Rockhampton, and about 9 to 25 degrees for Marlborough. Let's take a look at Moreton Bay. There's a strong wind warning that's current. The winds will be west to southwest at 20 to 30 knots, easing to 20 knots tomorrow, and then 15 knots by tomorrow night. The highest seas 1.8 metres and offshore around 2.8 metres. So Brisbane tomorrow, becoming clear overnight, dry and sunny tomorrow, fresh to strong gusty west to southwest winds easing. A very high fire danger still remains in force, 11 to 23 for the city. Ipswich 7 to 23, Toowoomba dry and 5 to 19, 10 to 24 on the Sunshine Coast, and 11 to 23 on the Gold Coast. And looking further ahead at this stage, fine days for the rest of the week. The winds will ease a little by tomorrow night and then freshen again, unfortunately, on Wednesday. Some warmer nights too on Wednesday and Thursday, around 14 degrees. Well, Holland Park Primary was our destination today. The school's been very busy preparing for our visit and presented this very colourful display of the Olympic rings. The Year 7s had all the questions ready for me this morning as we discussed various aspects of the weather. And the members of the Nature Club showed me around the Secret Garden. It's a special environmental project that's been developing over the last 6 years. It includes tree planting, a frog pond, and bird and possum nest. It's become a wonderful hands-on learning experience. So thank you for the visit. And looks like we've got more wind tomorrow, high fire danger. We'll watch for that.
All right, thanks, John. A Brisbane teenager has been chosen to lead the world's biggest ever marching band at the opening ceremony for next month's Olympic Games. 19-year-old Tim Kamu used to lead the John Paul College marching band. Now he'll be in front of 2,000 players from all over the world.
Totally honoured, and of course, nothing ever has happened to me like this, so yeah, I am over the moon. I'm looking forward to it.
With last year's SOCOG band debacle behind them, the 900 American marchers are getting ready to leave. They're sworn to secrecy about the musical program.
I want to tell my grandparents, like, what songs we're playing and my friends that aren't going, but we're not allowed and we can't say anything at all.
They'll arrive in Australia later this week to rehearse for the main event. It's getting close now too.
Very, very, just over a fortnight. That's how it is this Monday.
See you tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night.